Welcome to this Scaleway presentation. My name is Kevin and I will be presenting you Scaleway and the Scaleway task for the next few minutes. First of all, I wanted to thank you because HackYeah is a huge competition. You've got a lot of actors, a lot of tasks, interesting tasks that you could choose from. So my job for the next 10 minutes, I promise I will be short and I won't bore you too much with too much details, but my job will be to explain you who is Scaleway, what we are doing, and why you should choose us and our task for this competition. Okay, so first of all, Scaleway is a major European cloud provider that's coming from France. And we are organized in three brands that are making a complete ecosystem that will be really different depending on what you need. So what we will be focusing on today is Scaleway Elements. It's our public cloud ecosystem. So you will have anything, any services that you can ask from a public. Have instances, load balancers in different availability zone, different regions. We will have also more complete services like manage databases, for example, GPU, bare metal instances, and we've got a free control plane for Kubernetes. So the containerization is also possible, and we are doing a great job around those subjects. Just so you know, we also have Scaleway Dedibox. It's a more historical brand of Scaleway, and it's focusing on dedicated servers. So you will find some of the best European prices on Dedibox. That's why we are so famous for this activity. And finally, we've got a data center brand. Most of our data centers are operated by ourselves, and we also offer to main actors to have their own private suite or cages in our data centers so they can enjoy our expertise. So between all these activities, we've got a lot of customers. Some are huge ones like Adobe that you may know, or VP, which is e-commerce. So a selling activity. We also have Winamax, which is betting activities. Le Bon Coin, which is a marketplace. GeoVelo, it's an app that is, for example, specialized in telling you the best way to go across cities when you are biking. EarthCube is another example. It's a great French startup that is working with the army and with the government. They are focusing on an AI and computer vision, and they are in real time they can tell based on satellite images what kind of vehicle, planes, for example, are around the globe. So you can track military planes, etc. So we got a lot of different customers. There's a lot of different activities, and there are a lot of different services that they're using. The only common place that we've got is innovation. We've got a different program, including a startup program that you may apply if you are interested. And we are really part of a huge startup ecosystem. So maybe that's also something that you can take advantage and that you can leverage in the next few months or even during this competition. I will be focusing on a few points that will be our main advantages. So first of all, our cloud is cost effective. It's simple. When you launch your services, you've got an estimate at the end before launching your resources. It's something really different that what you can expect from other CSP, especially the major one where you've got a lot of other services that are difficult to estimate, especially for traffic, for example. Also, another good point is that we've got a multi-cloud approach. We've got, for example, load balancers that are that doesn't have any restriction on IPs, so you can point them to any cloud provider or even a Raspberry Pi that you've got at home. So we are the only one in the world to offer a multi-cloud load balancer, for example. Everything we do is based on open source technology. As much as we can, we are open about what we're doing and how we are doing it. And we've got a new program that's the open source program. So if you are interested in open source technology, you can also have some help, benefit from a community, have some free credits to support this activity, etc., etc. That's also something that you may be interested in. And a lot of few points, I will be focusing more on the green power and climate neutral point, because that's what will be more interesting for a task. So I will be giving you a few examples of things that we are doing differently. So we are really green and climate neutral. The first thing is all our energy is renewable. So we are not relying on fossil fuel or nuclear or any other kind of energy. So that's something that allows us to get data centers that are really low, are really efficient when it comes to generating CO2. The other good point is that we are always innovating, and we've got new data centers that runs without any AC, without any air conditioning. We can do that with a new system that is unique. It's called adiabatic, and it's we can cool down data centers with only water that will cool the air that we inject in the data centers. If it's something that you want to know more about it, we've got a lot of links, a lot of explanation that you can find. So feel free to go and see what adiabatic means and how we can change the face of data centers for the few next 2 years. That's something that we are really focusing on. We've got a lot of RP, a lot of acclaimed media that are talking about our engagement, about green, about neutrality, and that's something that we will be focusing together. So our main task for the next few days will be measuring and how to influence your ecological and carbon footprint. So I think that's something that we all want to foster, and as a re-engage actor about ecological and carbon footprint, it seems totally logical to work with you on those aspects. So that's for the whole picture of and why we choose this task. I hope that's something that will interest you, and I hope that you will come and see us for more questions about the task, the services, how we can do it together. And now I won't bore you anymore. Matthias will be giving you a small presentation. We've collected a lot of information to help you start with this task. So you will have already a prepackaged Terraform playbook that you will be able to use to be more efficient. So without further ado, Matthias, I'll let you present the task. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for your presentation. We're now going to see how to start a basic API using Scaleway server and how to create a mobile application and using that API inside of the mobile application. So what you're going to need first is to clone the repository we're going to provide you. So you can open a terminal and clone it inside a folder. I'm going to do git clone. Once it's done, we can go directly inside. And as you can see, we have 4 folders. We have the API folder. We have 3 folders that will be used for the mobile application. We're first going to use the API. So we're going inside the API. And you're going to need to configure your environment before you start the API. So what do we need is the credential of Scaleway, so API credential. So once you're in the console, you can just go into credential and you can do generate new API key. So I'm going to call it hackathon. You can call it as, okay. And now we have an access key and a secret key. So what we're going to do is export a CW access key, equivalent of one we have there. Okay. And I'm going to do also for the secret key, SCW secret key. You can find those lines on the documentation, so you can just copy and paste them and just replace the keys by the one you have. Okay, and once it's done, we just need the organization ID that you can find right there. So we're gonna copy it and do export SCW default organization ID. So here I already have my organization ID. You can just enter. Okay. Once the environment is set, we can start using Terraform. To do so, you need Terraform. Here I have Terraform 0.13, but you can use the last version. You're gonna need Ansible. And finally, you're gonna need also Node because we are creating a Node.js server. So let's check the files. We have Ansible configuration, the API service that will be put inside our Scaleway server, the deploy.yml that is also used to create all the services, and the index.js. So if we look at the index.js, we have a really basic Node.js server, as you can see, HTTP create server with the port 3000, and we are just sending a JSON containing message hello world. Okay, so we're gonna first do Terraform init to start Terraform, to initialize Terraform. Once Terraform is initialized, we can do Terraform apply. And it's gonna ask, so it's making a preview of what we're going to create on Scaleway servers. So we're going to create an instance. We're going to create an IP that we're gonna link to that instance. And that's pretty much all. So we can do yes. And if we go on the console right there, you're gonna see MySweeper API is being started. So that's the one I just created through Terraform right there. So as you can see, Terraform just finished and we have 3 resources that has been added. So we can already check if the API is online by copying the public IP. We can put it there. And if you remember well, we have 3000 as a port. And here you can see we have the hello world. So your API is already ready, and we're now going to create the mobile application. So to create the application, you have 3 frameworks that are possible. You can choose between Angular, React, and Vue, but mainly we're going to use IONIC. So you're going to need to install IONIC. You're going to need also to install Node if you didn't install it before. And that's pretty much all. We're gonna start a new mobile application. So I'm gonna explain you from scratch how to make the API call. But in the example, you have already the API call with the Angular, React, and Vue. So I'm gonna do IONIC start. And IONIC is going to ask us which framework do we want. So I'm gonna start with React, but you can choose the one you want. And I'm gonna call it example. It's going to also ask, do we want to start with the template? So I'm going to go with the tabs one. You can choose the one you want. And now IONIC is going to install everything that is required by the mobile application. So now that IONIC is installed, we're going to do IONIC serve, which is going to start the server and open a new window into Google Chrome. And that's where we're going to develop. So here we are, the mobile application started. We can do inspect, as you've seen. And here we have the Chrome console that just opened. We can choose between different devices. So for example, if I choose the iPhone X and I refresh, you're gonna see the design is a bit different because there are two libraries on IONIC. There is one for iPhone and one for Android. If I go, for example, with the Galaxy S5, you see the design is a bit different. So I'm gonna go with the iPhone X, and as you can see, I choose previously the template of tabs. So I have my 3 tabs that are right there. And now we're going to make an API call, the API we created previously. The goal is to display the hello world on the tab 1 page. To do so, we're going to open text editor or IDE. And we're going to open our project. So we're going to open our project, so app example. Okay, so in that case, we are using IONIC. I didn't mention it, but you can use any other framework, or you can even do it natively using Kotlin or Swift. So here we have different files. So here we have the configuration file. We won't change anything. We have the index.tsx, that is the main file. We have the app.tsx that contains the roots and the tabs. So for example, here I changed the name by Agathon for the first tab. You can change it also if you want. And finally, we have the pages and a small component there that is called Explore Container. So I'm gonna go with the tab 1. That's the page I'm gonna change. So as you see, the component Explore Container is called right there. If we look at the component, it's just a strong text, a paragraph, and a link. So that's pretty much what we're seeing right there. I'm gonna remove it because I don't need it now. And inside that page, I'm going to do our API call. So to do, we're gonna use useEffect from React, which is an equivalent of component did mount from Angular. Okay. And inside that useEffect, so I need to import it first. Inside that useEffect, I'm gonna do a fetch, and I'm gonna use our API link right there to make a HTTP requests. Okay. Then I get the result. Oops. Then result, and I convert it into JSON. And again, I get the result. And I'm gonna store that result into a state that we'll call result, and that will be set by set result. We're gonna define it right after. Set result of res. So now I need to create set result and the result states. To do so, I'm gonna do const result set result, and I'm gonna do use states from React again. Set result is set. Okay, I'm gonna explain it again. So I do a use effect that is the equivalent of component did mount. Inside of it, I do my API call. I do a convert to JSON, and then I store that result into result right there. So now what do we need to do is to display that result. So I'm gonna import IONIC text, which is an IONIC component. Don't hesitate to check the IONIC documentation. There are a lot of explanation. It's pretty much clear. And I'm gonna also do, let's say, h1. And here I'm gonna display my results.message, because if you remember well, the hello word is contained into message. Here we have an error because the user state is undefined. So I'm gonna define it. And I'm gonna let it empty. So let's say if the API call doesn't work, message should be empty. But in that case, in the case we want, it should be displaying hello world. I'm gonna do also a small class for ion text. So for example, I'm gonna call it hello world. And we are going to be able to design that, that text. So here you can see I imported tab1.css, so I can just directly go in the file. And here I've already defined the hello word with a display flex, margin 18th, and a color purple. So now if I save the files and I go back on IONIC, you can see there we have the hello word that is sent by the API. You can also check into network, for example, and here we see the HTTP request worked on our previously created API with the message hello word. So that's it for the development part. We're gonna now see how to run it on iOS and how to run it on Android. To do so for iOS, you're gonna need Xcode, and for Android, you're gonna need Android Studio. So I have both of them, so I can show you. So we're going now to build it on iOS. So I'm gonna do IONIC capacitor build iOS. So capacitor is a package of IONIC that is used to build natively the package on iOS. Here we are having a small error that is due to the fact we didn't build the app. So I'm just gonna build the app and then I'm gonna redo IONIC capacitor build iOS. Okay, the app is built. Now we're gonna do the IONIC capacitor build iOS, and you're gonna see it's gonna build everything, and it's directly gonna open Xcode, and you can just directly run your application through a simulator or through directly your phone if you plug in your phone on your computer. I didn't mention it, but you need a MacBook to run on iOS. For Android, you can do it on a MacBook as much as any other computer. But for iOS, it requires macOS. So you can probably do a virtual machine with macOS on it, but it's going to be really slow. Okay, we have Xcode that is opening there. A bit slow. Okay, now we can choose on what simulator do we want to start the application on. As I said before, you can start it on your own device if you want here, but as you see, I have no device connected, and to show you, I'm gonna run it on a simulator, and I can just do run. And Xcode is going to start a simulator, and it's going to install the app, and then to start the app. Okay, and as you can see, we have the app that is on a mobile phone on iOS with our tab that we call hackathon with the hello word we've done with the API call, and we have our two other tabs we didn't customize yet. But as you can see, it's working. So we're going to see now how to do it on Android. It's pretty much the same command as on iOS. It's IONIC capacitor build Android. And as the same as iOS, it's gonna build natively the application, and it's gonna open Android Studio by itself. Okay, we have Android Studio that opened. I have a small plugin update. I will do it later. And now the application is gonna build. While it's building, you can click right there and create your virtual device. So here I already created a Pixel 4 with the API 30. You can create any other device if you want to try on it. And as much as on iOS, you're going to see you can plug your Android device and you will be able to run it on your Android device. So here we have the build. And as we can see, the build succeeded. Okay, so I'm going to run it on my simulator. And so after a little of time, we see the Android started. We have Android Studio was saying that the app is being installed on the device. And it's going to start it automatically. Okay. Okay, as you can see, we don't have the hello word there. The other tabs looks normal. So we can just go into run to see what happened. And here we see a capacitor got an error. It said encode in promise type error, failed to fetch. So there is a problem with the fetch. It's due to the fact that since Android 9, Android is no more allowing HTTP requests. And as you can see, our API is unsecured. So it's not using SSL. So what we can do to counter that, we can change the configuration into the Android manifests. So you're going to need on the repository, you're going to see in the documentation, at the bottom of the documentation, you will have error on Android Studio. And I'm explaining the exact same error. I can just copy that part, close the window, and we're going to put the configuration right there. Okay. What we can do now is to stop the app, and we're going to rerun it to see if it worked. So it's going to launch the app again. And now, as you can see, we have the hello word because we accepted unclear traffic. We accepted clear traffic, sorry. And that's pretty much all. You know how to create your mobile application, how to develop it on a web browser, and how to export it on Android and on iOS. I wish you good luck.